Understood. Thank you for this.
But understand that it is okay to have those experiences. It is okay to go through the idea of loss, because that's what the idea of physical experience is about. Because in non-physicality, you cannot lose anyone.
Right.
Everyone goes to the same place. Everyone talks to each other. The murderer and the victim on the other side, the non-physical aspect of things, they will talk and say, hey, you did this thing, and I really understand now what you experienced in this time when I did it to you.
They all do that?
Yes. You have all played the different parts. You have all played the mother, the father, the son, the daughter, the uncle, the victimizer, the murderer, the victim, the person with disabilities. You've all done everything. It's all in your resonance field. That is why when you look at another person, you can resonate, and you can also have the idea of compassion for those who have gone through the experience, even though you may not you may not be going through them right now.
Even someone who was brutally abused in some way could look at the abuser, and I mean, I think some people will find it very difficult to face your abuser and love them or feel compassion.
Yes, and those are usually the most important lessons of forgiveness for each person to process and live through. Those are particular themes that each individual person is deciding to play out because they have played it out in the other role where they have been the abuser.
Is that true for a war situation or like a massive some event of sorts that a lot of people perish?
Typically, those kind of experiences are divine interventions and timeline movements that shift people to different frequencies for if they would not have happened. The idea of working through the idea of war and the ability to let it go would not happen otherwise.
Fair enough. I'm looking at my notes here. You gave us a very nice message, and thank you, of believing in yourself. You wouldn't be here unless you were supposed to be, and obviously here you are, and everything's okay with you. And to really see the bigger picture here. And that all works really well together. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us regarding this subject before I move to others?
Well, the idea is that many of you get stuck in the idea of the details, the minutia of the moment. Being able to take a step back and look at the larger aspect of yourself, and also the larger vision of what you want for your life or what you have chosen to experience and what you have actually decided to work through in your experiences, your particular themes. Because usually you will find through going through that experience in particular that you have learned many things, but it's being able to and willing to actually step back and look at those things. Many humans don't take the time to do that.
Right. Reflect.
Yes. Okay. That is why you have the ability to do that.
Very true. Thank you. Ethan, we spoke last and we mentioned once or twice about the higher mind, and you gave the idea of being on the top of the mountain, being able to see further out.
Yes. The idea of the higher mind is it can see into multiple realities simultaneously, much in the way that we can. It allows you to see, oh, this is going to happen at this point if they keep going down this path. So you are guided away from having those experiences. That is why it's on the mountain, is the non-physical aspect of you that you shift back to when you transition back to non-physicality.
Thank you. Is this part of me individuated, or is it part of a collective?
It's individuated in the sense that you are only ever this version of you, but the collective, the higher mind, the larger aspect of you, it is all integrated into that aspect of that part of yourself.
I didn't catch that. Could you explain that again to me, please?
All of the knowledge, all the experience that you've ever had exists. All the versions of you that you have transitioned to exists. It's what you call your lifetime.
And the higher mind.
Yes, the higher mind contains all of that understanding, that knowledge, those experiences that you had in that particular lifetime.
Okay, thank you. That right. I know you can access the higher mind for me, and Laurel here with us does that too. But how could I directly access my higher mind?
Usually, the idea of non-intrusiveness. Usually, the ideas are given to you in small forms and small ideas. For if they actually came in and interfered with your life, you would resist them.
Okay, so for example, I have something to do. I need to solve a problem or achieve whatever it is, and
Yes.
I'm kind of looking through ideas, and none of them really sits well. And then somehow out of nowhere, I'll have this other idea out of left field that I didn't even think it exists, and I go, "That's the right one."
Because that is the communication from your higher mind. That is the communication from your guides, your guardian angels, all those people that are there are part of your team.
Okay, thank you. And now that you've mentioned the guides, I know we spoke about the guides earlier, but if you could please tell all the new viewers who or what the guides are.
Your guides are the non-physical aspects of people that you had in other incarnations. They are the higher aspects of beings that you've had in many different lifetimes, whether it's here on Earth or any other place in the universe. They are the people that guide you and give you nudges. They are the people that have your best interests at heart. Some of them do travel around. You have a few main guides throughout your lifetime, but those do change out from time to time. But you do have a particular main guide in each person. It may not necessarily be necessary for you to have a open connection or know their names, but they are there. They are there regardless. They are there to help you out. They guide you down a road that you would not have otherwise taken.
Thank you. I asked you one of our conversations regarding, I asked you to give example of my own guides. Would you tell me who my guides are now, please?
It is not necessary for us to give you that. You will actually be getting their names yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care for the name so much, but I think you mentioned there are some Palladians, and there's another one.
Yes. You have guides from other planets. You have guides from other lifetimes. They have been your friends, and they are now playing the role of your guide.
Have I been their guide at some point?
Yes. You've all played all the roles. When we say all the roles, we mean all the roles. You are going through the idea of physicality right now.
Right.
And many of you have forgotten that you have the non-physical aspect of yourself. So you have pushed away the idea and the memories that go along with that experience.
Okay, I see. So the guides are higher minds of my friends that could have been physical at some point, people or beings that I know.
Yes, usually. There are some beings that are not necessarily part of that group, but many times those beings that act as your guides are also part of your soul group, your soul family.
Okay, I'm starting to get a hang of it. Okay, so the group works together to basically somebody goes down and picks a role, and then some from that group or other beings will go and help out in a psychic way, in an intuitive way.
Well, psychic in the sense that they are there to guide you and give you information, much in the way that Laurel acts like that for other people. She is doing the work of becoming a guide for others that she will experience when she transitions back to non-physicality, because she has been here and has gone through the experiences. This is typically what many people who are approaching the idea of being a guide for someone else will go through and have a lifetime where they do this on the physical plane so they can understand and give better advice to those who are going through the physical experience on a particular planet.
That makes sense. Would the guides have any message for me at the moment?
We are giving you the messages that they are delivering to us.
I see. Okay, good.
We leave nothing out.
Thank you. Lo, would you like to ask something? Hold on.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. I don't know so much that I have a question. I have so much agreement with what you are sharing. The abilities that I'm grateful for, that I have come to be so comfortable and confident with in this moment in my lifetime. It's so cohesive and so cooperative to hear such great, don't know quite how to word it, to just have the words are missing because I'm feeling a lot. It's almost like, you know, an approval, like I'm receiving an approval for what has been challenging throughout society and my life. To come into a balance with it at this point in my life, I'm sincerely grateful. Like many people go through, my life has had its challenges. I'm grateful that my guides will say, or my ascended masters that have worked with me, they have kept me on this path and have not let me off. And admittedly, I've wanted off a number of times because it's been awkward in a way, or, you know, there's something wrong with those of us who sit and hang out with a great interviewer like Joseph and each other, and we relate on such a high standard or high level.
Well, that is why you are coming together in the way you are now. It is the idea of resonance. It is the idea of delivering information to those that need it.
Thank you.
This is why you're part of it. You have been guided, and you know this from a higher level, and even on your physical level, that you've been guided to join these conversations because you do have something to add.
Thank you. Thank you. I can say that I know that myself for myself in a level of confidence that I don't really need to be told that I'm doing okay, because I feel the doing okay. But I do appreciate the, again, you know, human English language limits. It's complementary confidence to have this association placed with me at this time, anytime. You know, 20 years ago, I might have kind of shucked it off, and now I realize there's nothing more important, and there's nothing that satisfies me more, feels better in my tummy and my soul, than being activated and aware of the activation to help others. Ethium, I thank you. I thank you.
Yeah, we thank you as well.
Thank you.
The idea is that you know more and understand more and live more because you are living from more of the present moment. You have gone through the experiences that you've gone through. It allows you to have the experience and the understanding how to help others.
Yeah. Yes.
So you have given yourself the gift of presence. Open up your gifts.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Laurel. I'm reaching here. Thank you for this, Ethan. Ethan, I wanted to ask you about my paternal grandparents, my father's parents, which I've never gotten to meet. Would you be able to connect me with them?
We are already connecting to them currently.
Do they have any message?
We are here. We do love you. We are here to help you through your process. They were not necessarily relevant for you to have in your lifetime, in your physical experience. That is why they did not necessarily appear or live within you when you were younger.
Right.
It was not relevant.
Okay, very good. I wanted to ask you about the tarot cards.
Yes.
What what are the significance of those, and if how to interpret them, or anything you could share with me about these things?
Well, they are archetypal symbols. They are particular vibrational frequencies that attract you to a particular experience. They are usually, many are communications from your higher mind to your physical mind. They are there to help you decipher and make a more open connection to your higher mind. At a certain point, when you have created a strong enough connection to your higher mind, you no longer need them because you are getting direct communication instead of needing the permission slip of tarot cards.
Thank you for this. Is there there are 22 cards in the major arcana,
Yes.
and there are 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. Is that a coincidence, or there's a connection here?
It is synchronicity. It is not, nothing that you experience in your life is there on accident, is there on purpose. It is there to serve you, if you just define it that way. The synchronicity of you being of Jewish descent, that is not there by accident. You chose that aspect yourself because that was necessary for you to have the experience of being Yossi. Because of where you were born and where you came from, you were given the chance to understand and say, hey, I'd like to have this experience.
Thank you. And would it be fair to say that a person could be incarnate as Muslim, and then next time as Christian, and then sometime as something else, and so on and so forth, or they repeat a similar religious experience?
You may repeat some aspects. Most lifetimes, most experiences of the physical experience are all different.
So if they're all different, and you can incarnate here as a Muslim and here as a Christian or whatever, what's the point of religion in that sense?
Guidance, structure, community. Humans are not designed, nor is anyone else really in creation to live alone. The idea that your physical experience is there to help others, to be an example as to how to live in an ethical way that is of a higher frequency.
Do you believe that religions, the way we know them now, will stay with us in the future, or they will merge or disappear, or something else will come up?
Eventually, you will see many of the religions in the years going forward. You will see some people still sticking around and still experiencing and practicing those rituals. But you will also see many people shifting more to the idea of just connecting to all that is themselves, instead of needing to go through the idea of Jesus or Muhammad or the Hindus. But understand, most religions, they're all pretty much saying the same thing in that essence. The idea is be nice to others. Understand that the vibration and frequency that you're putting out is there in the way that you treat people. It is not there to hurt or harm someone unless someone is coming from that victim mentality.
Very good. What kind of timeline are we looking at for there will be very few religious people left.
That will be in a few decades to come. You will start seeing more of the transition away from religions in that way that you are experiencing right now in a more rapid way once open contact starts, because we'll be given more clear information and more clear understanding as to the teachings that many of these religions themselves are based off of.
I see it. In what way would the information be conveyed?
When we establish open contact with you, one of the first gifts that will be given to you and your people is a device that allows you to see your full history with teachings and understandings, observations from extraterrestrials, as well as different aspects of extraterrestrials that have lived on your planet. So you'll be given a timeline of when things actually occurred on your planet.
And what's the experience of using that device is like?
It's holographic in nature and allows you to more openly and see drastically in a very three-dimensional way, so you can experience history and without the filters that you see on your planet with your people.
So it's immersive.
Yes. It allows you to fully immersively experience those different time periods and those different people.
So I can press a button and go to the Battle of Waterloo, and I can press a button, for lack of better words, and I can look at Moses.
Yes. They will give you the ability to look at those different time periods and those different people, so you can see who they were without question, without having the slant that you see as a civilization on your history.
Okay, well, I guess a lot of people will say, well, how do we know this is true and not our story is true?
We come from more of the idea of observation. We have no agenda in giving you the information. When you operate from a state where you have full understanding as to what happened in your history, it allows you to make more informed decisions. Me and my people do not have the idea of malicious content or malevolent destruction.
Thank you. What's that machine look like?
It will, because it will not necessarily be your technology, it'll be quite small. It'll be something that you can touch and hold and be able to expand outside of the ability to understand and connect. It will be more or less palm-sized.
Right. So I hold this thing and I basically swipe to a whole other reality which I can experience.
Yes. Much in the way that you will see your technology develop into a connection for those that need it to their higher mind to receive information.
Are you aware of Project Bluebeam?
Project Bluebeam?
Yes.
Much of the technology that was recovered from different ships in your past was reverse engineered. The less, we'll say, helpful aspect. The more warlike aspects were reverse engineered and incorporated into some of your technology.
Right, because one of those things that I heard of was ability to project holographically.
Yes. This is technology that we have.
And would anyone on the planet will have this little device, or it'll just go from one person to the other?
No, technology such as that, at least to begin with, will be used as necessary. It will not be necessarily released to your population.
I see. What other technologies are you expecting us to receive from yourself or other races past contact?
We have already been seeding your collective with the idea of technology, the idea of resonance, the idea of being able to harmonize and change your frequency and heal different aspects of your past and your body and your psyche.
Right. So there's a lot of talk about med beds that work with some sort of frequency technology.
Yes. Ultimately, this technology was passed down to you and given to many of you because it is the correct timing to have these kinds of technology back into your society and your collective. That is why there's such an emphasis at this moment on this type of technology, because it will be ultimately the technology of how you heal yourself in the future.
Right. And I think I've heard you mention that there are some medbed prototypes of medbeds exist.
Yes. There is a woman based out of Colorado who has a chamber that refracts sound and frequency back onto the person. These are healing chambers. There is a person in Sedona, Arizona that has created a more primitive and a more prototype version of a medbed.
Any others?
At this time, these are the only ones that the channel has come across that we can access.
I see.
There are more. There are many people exploring the idea of somatics, the idea of frequency and sound to change your body and change things such as cancer, change the idea of gravity.
Yeah, that's a big one. What kind of, before I ask you what kind of time we are with the med beds, I understand that we have to be in the frequency that enables us to see how a med bed operates for us to design one. Yes?
Well, you are already operating on the frequency to be able to actually receive that technology, to be able to receive the understanding on how, at least the basics of how to build one of those machines.
Uh-huh.
There are many different versions and many future versions that have not come to fruition yet. But they will, in time, in your experience of time, be created and allowed to manifest on your planet.
How long before we see something like this available to the public?
Within the next 10 years, more commercially available.
Would the same medbed heal one problem, disease, or many, or several?
It's more of the idea that it tunes those particular body parts or organs to operate at a much higher frequency, so they are able to connect and stay connected to themselves. So it's kind of like you're tuning an instrument,
Right.
less like you're tuning a body per se. It's more like you're tuning an instrument and allowing the frequencies to be tuned to a particular frequency or a particular key.
Yeah, I get it. Very good. What other kinds of gifts or technologies we may be given?
Eventually, you will be receiving the idea of nanoglass, which is essentially a bead. You had representations inside of your media of nanotechnology that can transform into whatever it needs to be, a communication device, a tool, clothing. That is why you have those representations, because it is starting to manifest into your collective at this time. So you're actually starting to see physical representations and understandings. That way, when these particular types of technology show up, you will not have the idea of being destroyed or that these technologies are here to hurt you, because you will be familiar with them enough that you won't destroy yourself. You understand much of the technology that you are experiencing today. 30 to 40 years ago was all science fiction.
Right.
There is a time lag within inside of the idea of physicality that allows you to say, hey, do you really want to experience this?
Right. So by the time the new thing comes out, people already are aware of it and not going to be too shocked when it shows up.
Yes, you will. When these technologies show up into your life, they, for a time before it becomes part of your collective and also part of the way you operate, it is the cool new toy that everyone has to have. And eventually it just becomes the same thing as everything else.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
Much in the way that you have cell phones. Once upon a
Exactly.
time, they could just make just calls. And now they do everything.
Right. Do you foresee that healthcare and hospitals will change much when these healing devices will come?
Yes. You will see a dramatic shift in the way healing is done. It will eventually become more of the idea of frequency. You will see less of the idea of pain medication, less of the idea of poisoning people to make them better, which is an oxymoron.
Right. Would we still need surgery?
Not as much as you do now.
If somebody broke their arm, they still have to go to the physical doctor to fix that, yeah?
For a time. Eventually, the med beds will progress to the point where they can heal the bones, the tendons, the nerves in minutes. Eventually, but this is not in your reality currently.
What about restoring eyesight?
Yes. Much of the technology that will go along with med beds will tune the body. That includes organs, that includes hearts, that includes eyes, that includes every aspect of the body to retune it. Say your genetics is not functional, like you have an autoimmune disease where your body doesn't absorb certain things, so it is malfunctioning. This will allow those that use this technology to fix or recalibrate that aspect of themselves so they can live a more normal life without as much hardship.
That's amazing. Once we have this, now seems miraculous, but so did the smartphone when it came out. Once we have these technologies, do you think that people will start taking better care of themselves? I mean, we don't have this medbed technology, but we can probably eat less sugar and processed food, and a lot of people could be a little lighter on the weight and no diabetes, right? Would that also cause understanding that we have to respect the nature, our physical nature, and what we eat and consume?
Naturally, as you shift through the ideas of more closer to the idea of being more naturally yourself, you'll more easily shift closer to the idea of just eating natural food.
That sounds ideal to me.
But understand that these will happen in their own timing.
Yeah, of course. I guess much of the violence will go away.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. I guess
you are working through the idea of war and pain currently. Yes.
For a long time.
Well, you are reaching the end of this time period where you need to so thoroughly have these things in your reality, in your world.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do sense I don't know what the word for it is, but people don't want war anymore. And it doesn't matter who they are, where they come from. They just don't want it anymore. And I really sense that more and more.
Because you have burned out on the idea of war. When you stop having the people that are in charge come from a place of greed, of needing to control resources, you will see a dramatic shift in the way that your governments operate.
Yeah. Amen to that. And on the same note, I mean, our water is poisoned with chlorine and fluoride and dirty. And I see these white lines in the sky, and I'm told there's like some aluminum particles that go in the animals and us and the water and everything. Like the clouds are very different. Like, is that true that like there's some chemical process being thrown to the sky from planes that changing the structure of the atmosphere or the water?
Whether the program was done from a negative place to control the atmosphere, the weather, this was done and has been done and is still being done. But much in the same way that you will see the technology change around your medical practices, around your government, many of these programs will be discontinued and you will see them disappear altogether.
Should I worry about what these things are in the sky?
We would say do what you can, keep yourself clean, allow yourself to detox from those particular things, such as toxins in your water supply, toxins in your air. Live as clean as you possibly can. And allow yourself to naturally eliminate those things out of your system. You will naturally start thinking more clearly, and you will naturally have the idea of being able to understand more.
Yeah, very, very good. Thank you. You mentioned nanotechnology.
Yes.
There's another thing that, and I see that the unbelievable potential. I mean, you can probably put some nanotech in the body and fix whatever needs to be fixed on the inside,
Yes.
or anything. I mean, I saw a patent that allows nanotechnology to assemble inside the body and form like a mobile phone, like a communication device, and it can communicate with other bodies and servers outside of it. Are we looking at this kind of technologies too?
The negative aspect and the negative realities that you are speaking of are going down that particular route where they are shifting to more the idea of merging with their technology. Those that wish to remain in a more positive state, in a more neutral state, allow things to happen naturally, are shifting to a reality where you live in harmony with nature, your technology, your every animal on your planet.
Okay, good one. Is this what happened to the Greys? They just immersed in technology and they couldn't reverse that?
Well, that was slightly different. They had reached the point in their evolution where they had destroyed their version of Earth, and they had to, in order to survive, they had to mutate. They had lost the ability to procreate, so they more shifted to the idea of creating clones of them and just shifted their consciousness from body to body.
How does consciousness shift itself from one to another body?
It's much in the way that you have a consciousness that is operating the body you are on now. They understand things vibrationally and frequency wise to be able to connect and transfer the form to tune it to a particular consciousness, because they act in more of a hive mind at the point that they are.
You mentioned,
But even those shells are no longer viable to continue their civilization in that way. So that is why they are in your realities.
yeah, those shells are gone, yeah?
Many of them, by my time, my point in history that I exist, there are no longer any grays.
Okay. Are there any Maz Air left?
Those are the grays.
Those are the,
That is the name that we actually gave them in our ancient tongue, our ancient civilization, in our past.
okay. I have one last for today. Last time we spoke about the dragon energy, and that really captivated my mind, and I believe the channels and Laurel's too. Is there anything regarding dragon energy that you would like to share with us?
If you give us 1 moment, we can shift to allow the dragon energy to shift in and deliver information to you.
Thank you.
1 moment. we are expressing ourselves through the conduit. Our energy is to be added more openly to your collective, to share the ascended forms that we are more openly to your people.
Thank you. Is there anything specific we can do to help you come down more to us?
By allowing the conduit to connect in this way, you are acting and helping create a bridge to our energy and to his, to combine it into his field so he can emit it as he walks through the world.
Thank you. How can I embrace dragon energy in my everyday life, please?
Allow yourself to embrace the dragon in you. Allow yourself to embrace the ideas and the power that you allow yourself to be in that primal nature, but allowing yourself to understand that it comes along with wisdom without the fire that is all consuming.
Thank you very, very much. We are complete.